I'm a parent, I'm a former geography teacher, I'm a National Geographic explorer, and I've walked across all the UK's inspiring, distinctive, remarkable national parks while wearing a mind-reading device. I've also walked across all of the UK's cities, and I can tell you that I think that the Surrey Hills are one of the most remarkable, beautiful places to explore in the entire country. I might be partially biased because I grew up exploring these hills and around the South Downs as well, but I can really imagine the Surrey Hills being a national park. But, you know, I think that a really key idea here is that we don't really want to look at the opportunity of, miss the opportunity of preserving the status quo. What we really want to do is restore the future. I like this idea of how we can restore the future, because where we are at the moment is that around the world and in this country we have ecological collapse, we have children disconnecting from nature en masse, but we also have a significant challenge of there not being nearly enough affordable housing. And when people are thinking about housing in this country, when people are thinking about transport, they're thinking strategically in terms of the southeast region. They're not thinking about the Surrey Hills or London. When we're thinking about having 8 million more people living in the southeast region by 2042, the way you accommodate all those people is you either build up and you densify urban areas, or you have to build out into the countryside. And I'm sure that will come up as a good question. So for me, a really significant point about the idea of a London National Park city, which isn't outside the city or inside the city, it's the entire conurbation, is this idea that urban life is not worth less than rural life, that an urban red fox isn't worth less than a fed fox or a desert fox, and that people that occupy cities don't deserve habitats that are any less wonderful than what we might expect for orangutans. And the idea of nature and cultural conservation shouldn't always be externalized to people in distant places with certain kinds of expertise. It should be something that everyone feels that they can do themselves where they are. So a national park city as an idea is just like a rural national park in the sense that it's a place that you can enjoy, that you can explore, that you can improve. It's a vision, a contested vision that people can share, but it's also a community of people who are working to look after that place. Now in the US, we have national park authorities that are traditional top-down authorities where you can get shot and you can get parking tickets and those kinds of things. In the UK, we have partnerships of organisations and individuals with about 400,000 people living within our family of national parks around the UK. But when you look at national parks around the world, many of them are actually managed through indigenous knowledge by indigenous people who live within those different communities. And actually within our urban areas, in Guildford, in Dorking, in London, there are indigenous people who know how to look after their gardens and how to look after the land, and many more who can be aspired to do a far better job. So nearly half of London is physically green. There is 3.8 million gardens within the Greater London area. And everyone has the power in those places, not just to protect life, but actually to create it, to start restoring the future. But a really interesting question, I think, is where does London end in the context of this swelling population, the demand for housing, these 8 million more people that need to be housed? Does London end at the end of the Greater London Authority? Does it end at the M25 where there's lots of roadkill on the roads? Does it end at the end of the Thames watershed or the end of the Greenbelt? Or does it end much further away than that? Clearly there's a relationship between the South East region and London. And a question that I have is not about me presenting an answer today, but I think it'd be fascinating to have a grand challenge, to start reimagining different regions of the UK, perhaps based around the watersheds around great cities where many of the great pressures are, and consider what would a London National Park City region look like that is better connected spiritually, culturally, emotionally, ecologically, for recreation across the landscape. So while maintaining the distinctiveness for the sake of empowering people with the flavour and character and pleasure of their own AO&B or national park or local garden. Actually, how do all these places join up? How do they connect? How can we inspire people to walk from London to Winchester and to enjoy that journey? How can we get people to start using our canal network properly for slow commutes between great cities in this country? And I think if we had a grand challenge to ask architects, planners, designers, to start reimagining in an artistic way, in a playful way, but also in a scientific way, in an evidence-based way, what the region could look like if we were to join things up really properly and start planning not just for the housing, letting the planners design for housing first or transport planners first, but start to think about it from the green perspective. So just to quote very quickly The South East Protected Landscape Group, which is a group of AONBs and national parks of the South East region, in their 25-year plan for London City region, they said that our natural environment can help set the London City region apart internationally. What if London was to become the world's first national park city, which it is becoming in July next year? What if we started to build that story out, not just for London, but for the benefit of the city region as a whole? What could that vision look like, as I say, in terms of connecting that landscape up? What could it look like? And I hope that as we open the discussions up later over this evening, we have our Imagineering heads on to think about what may be possible. Because the two key questions for me that are fundamental to the idea of a national park city are partially about equipping people with the question, what if? What if we had more biophilic design in cities? What if we had national ways that connected up AONBs and national parks, ecologically, emotionally, recreationally? But as well as that, equipping people with the question, why not? So more people will start to say, why is this not happening here? So parents can start going into schools, and rather than saying, where are my fantastic science lessons and where are my fantastic English lessons, they're also saying, where is my outstanding outdoor play and learning for my child as well? Why is that not happening here? I think those are two vital questions we need to equip people with. Thank you.